Hello and good morning to my new review. Well, I have added a new piece to my growing collection, and let me take it off. It's one piece that you guys might recognize, in the sense that it was one of the first pieces that I made a YouTube review for, and I parted with this watch back in 2009. I had it for about a year. I had the yellow gold version. The yellow and steel two-tone version, sorry. And so this is the GMT-2C, the GMT-Master 2 with the ceramic bezel. So I bought this about 2 weeks ago from the AD here. What I've done is, actually, I haven't even removed most of the stickers, and I thought I would remove all the stickers during the review. That way you get to see a mint piece, well, as mint as possible, at least. I still haven't got any scratches on it. I haven't worn it that much. My Patek annual calendar still gets most of the wrist time. I will be collecting my AP Royal Oak within about a week's time from service, so that will be back in the collection. And when that happens, I will look to make another video of the entire collection, at least, which would be a nice recap summary of the pieces I've currently got. What I like most about this piece is the bezel itself, the bezel design, the knurling on the edges. They're quite sharp and nice to the touch. The bezel itself has this fantastic clicking feel. It just, as you move it over one point, it just wants to stop in the next spot. It doesn't. There is no slack. It's just spot on, and the resistance level as well, it's fantastic. I mean, you just have to put a bit of effort, nothing more than that. So for anyone who hasn't seen my previous video on the GMT2, it's a GMT watch. What that means is the hour hand can jump independently. It has this green arrow hand, which is called a 24-hour hand, and then there's this bidirectional bezel, which has the hours engraved on it. And how this works is, you would want to set, at least synchronize, the green hand to GMT, or what's called UTC, and then you would naturally keep the normal time to your local home time. So right now it's about to become 8 AM here in Sri Lanka, because I'm in the IST, Indian Standard Time Zone, which is GMT plus 5.5. And actually living in a half-hour GMT zone more or less kind of breaks the ease of use, and I will come back to that later, because basically it just throws everything off by half an hour, and the bezel isn't designed to handle that. So it's nice if you are living in, say, GMT1, GMT2, something like that. So as you can see, the local time is nearing 8 a.m. and with the arrow on the bezel synchronized with, or at least aligned with the 12 o'clock, we can see it shows that the UTC time is 2 a.m. and the way I've done it is because of the half hour I'm in. You could configure this either way, but the way I've done it is I've done it so that I think of it as 2 plus 30 minutes. Well, because it's almost there. So even though, so you can see the what do you call it, GMT hand isn't perfectly pointing at 2. It's a wee bit to the left. That's because this hour hand, the local hour hand, hasn't got to 12 yet, and so when it's got to 8:30 a.m. You would realize that this 24-hour hand would be a little wee bit past 2. So I can because I'm used to it, I would just say, okay, GMT is 2:30 a.m. in the morning. And I do a lot of work now for, well, synchronized with the American Pacific Standard Time, PST. So I basically track Vancouver time in British Columbia. So for that, it's basically counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's really counting 8 hours backwards from GMT. Because it's roughly PST, I think, is GMT 7, well, GMT -7 or -8 on the two. And yeah, so this will now give me that, Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be, well, 6:30 p.m. in the in the evening at least. And let's say we are traveling to Singapore. That's an easy one to remember. It's GMT8. So let's get that there. And I can straight away see that in Singapore the time is going to be 10:30 a.m. And it's good to actually synchronize the bezel on the GMT hand to GMT time, because that's how it was designed to be used. But there's an addition. I earlier mentioned that the hour hand can be jumped independently, and you just pull this out to the first stop, and the first stop just moves the hour hand around. And that's also how you set the date. So you basically get the hour hand to keep going around. Every second pass, that is every 24 hours, you would trigger the date to jump forwards or jump backwards. And that brings to the next point. This is one of Rolex's best movements. You cannot damage the date mechanism because it's designed to allow you to jump forwards and backwards. So you can do that as many times as you want. And so let's say I'm traveling to Singapore. I can then basically move my local hour hand to the local time there. And since I've set and synchronized the 24-hour hand to GMT, my GMT bezel will retain its GMT function. So that's really the way it's meant to be used. But of course, if I don't feel like moving the local hour hand, you could still keep local time the way I've done as it is. And then when you get to Singapore, for example, I would then need to look at keeping this at about GMT5. I can't do GMT5.5, and then I would need to compensate time backwards and just basically look at the GMT bezel for my home time, rather than having local time set to the time in Singapore. So that's another alternative use case. And yes, since I normally keep it at PST config, I'll leave it like that. And so it's one of these times where it's actually one of my, I would say, second time, I think, where I bought a watch, had it for a while, and sold it off. Didn't regret it, but I did sell it off knowing that I preferred the watch in the steel look, and it was always on my list to eventually come back to this watch after I had acquired the initial Patek and AP pieces I had in mind. So this was planned, I would say, from the back of my mind, easily from around 2006, well, 2007 odd. So it's been a while. Well, I've really taken my time to decide on this. And a couple of you have been wondering why didn't I go for the BL&R, which is the new model with the black and blue bezel. I'm not a big fan of blue, or at least the blue shade on the GMT bezel. Generally, I'm not a big fan of blue. The kind of blue that I like is the Patek Philippe 5960P. That sunburst blue dial. Okay, fine. You can sign me up any day of the week for that kind of blue, but not the blue shade that's been used on the bezel. In which case, I would actually say I prefer the Coke, which is the red-black bezel, and it's still not out yet. Well, maybe next year at Basel or the year after we would see something along those lines. And coming back to this piece after so long, the upgrade, the dial looks about the same. It's still that maxi feel. The case is just sharp. The edges are just sharp because it's so brand new. The strap, the clasp, of course. Well, the clasp is also still the same GMT style clasp. It's not gone to the new style on the sea dwellers and stuff, but it's still got the springy locking effect, so that looks about the same. I don't see, well, visually I don't see any upgrades as such. But with Rolex, they make these minute increments to a lot of their models and pieces over time that they don't even publish them really. It's only only those who keep track of Rolex and stuff on the forums that realize or know which and what has been changed over time. Yeah, this is just fantastic. So I think this is now a good time to start peeling off those stickers. Now you can see the side stickers now starting to look. I've just had this on for about a week, and it's not always on. It's just taken on and off, and so I think I'm going to take the side piece off. There we go. Well, let me just give it a quick wipe off screen. I think I will do that before. There we go. So now it's just shining. It's shining like mad. I could practically shave myself in the reflection. It is that sharp. It's much nicer once these watches get worn a bit and the it gets a little bit duller. I don't like it being. Actually, what I find is really funny is when I put this watch on, I feel that it's far more noticeable. And it kind of just shines on my wrist compared to my annual calendar Patek, which nobody recognizes, and I like it for that. But I just feel that this watch is going to draw a bit too much attention. So and it's for that reason that I've been wearing this a lot more with French cuffs, so that the bracelet doesn't really just jump in your face. I even had the same issue when I had the two-tone steel and yellow gold version. And you could imagine, when I had it brand new and with all the yellow gold links was, just scratch-free or even scuff-free. I never really scratch any of my watches, but it's just scuff-free. Where the reflection is just out of the shop, At that point, you can just imagine how it did raise. I mean, I would see a lot of people looking at me and giving me these odd looks, because they just seen this garish looking watch on my wrist, and that's also the primary factor why I just decided to sell that piece. One, I got tired of the two-tone look, and I didn't want a piece that was so obviously Rolex. I feel, Rolexes are just fantastic watches. The engineering that goes into them, it's like now this piece, when I say new, Rolex have now changed the warranty. So now this has a 5-year warranty. It's not 3 years anymore, and their recommended service interval is 10 years. So I get to basically keep this watch for 10 years without having to fork off, what was it? It's about 800 francs, I think. 800 Swiss francs, roughly about $1,000 for a service, last I checked. And yeah, that is just incredible. And the term of the value proposition, when you compare that, it's amazing how much it's going to impact other brands in the industry. I still haven't given any of my Pateks for service. I'm not really looking forward to it, because the service interval on my annual calendar would roughly be about a year, I think. And also with Patek, you can't really rush them. They will look at you in a negative way and say, these things cannot be rushed, we're Swiss, blah blah blah, and that's also fine, because it's an intricate movement. So I don't mind, it's gone for about 1.5 years, but at the same time, it's crazy in the sense that you bought this item. You can only wear it for about 5 years, and then it's gone away for 1.5 odd years. Of course, when you get it back, it'll be thrilling for sure. And of course, I guess the excuse, and a good excuse we can tell ourselves, is that it's always good to have more than one Patek. Keep one, wear it, send the other one off for service when it's back. You'll either have multiple Pateks in your collection, and if you've got the coin, that's probably the way to go, I suppose. But still, it's nice that the Rolexes, I've given my mom's Lady Datejust for service in Switzerland at the Bucherer boutique on Rue de Rhône. And yeah, they took, I think, maximum 3 to 4 months. I think it was even maybe less than that, because the service on these pieces is so, I would say, not rudimentary, but it's such a set process. The service is industrialized as well. That's how Rolex makes their money. Everything's industrialized. So there is less of art going into the service, not like Audemars Piguet, where they basically dismantle your movement 3 times and they put it back 3 times and do crazy stuff like that. Rolex probably just does it once and that's it, So yeah, now I think I've taken the one piece there. I think I missed out another piece on this side. So that's the other sticker coming off. There we go. These bits are really hard to get off. And I think, I'm just getting a bit of like some dust. And then there's the one on this side. Actually, I think I'll leave it. It has not gotten too damaged, because I sometimes wear it on my right wrist, and my bracelet tends to rest on this side. So I'll leave it there for now. If it looks too obvious, I'll come back to removing that. What else is looking a bit gnarly? Oh yeah, I think this one needs to go. So I need to remove the bit on the clasp. So it's really hard to see what I'm doing, because these stickers are, well, for one, my eyesight isn't great. Oh, there we go. And the easy way to see which surfaces are kind of matte finished, because once you take it off, they're all going to start shining like crazy, like reflecting like mad. So here we go. This one is no exception. Okay, so we got that bit. If I keep going, I might get to the edge. There we go. So that's another piece. I'll keep the inside piece because this is going to be a high friction contact point. So every time I close it, it's going to keep this. It's not going to, I mean, the set, because it comes out of the manufacturing plant like this, it's not going to do anything negative to it. There's one on the inside here as well, where you have the comfort link. So this is the comfort link. I again explained what this is in the previous video, but it's basically a half link that you can extend, which I have because it's pretty hot here, and I keep it extended all the time. But if you're in a colder climate and you feel you want a tighter fit, you can just lock it down, and so you basically can on the go just snap it, pull it out. You can control how tight. So you could basically have it like that, or you have it like that. So see, you just basically fold it over, and you get this extra half a link worth without having to add or remove links, which is another nice touch. So coming back to this, now this is looking rather nasty, so I will certainly get rid of this now. So the clasp is like one of the main main points or main areas that's going to get scuffed. It's unavoidable. So it's good to get your first scratch. That's the way I look at it. Once you get that first scuffing bit, you just get used to it and move on. I feel that watches should just be enjoyed on the wrist. I mean, sure, I do baby some of my pieces a bit, but it's with a pragmatic outlook, I would say. Here we go. Okay, now it's okay. I think. Okay, where is the plastic is kinda. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, it's a wow. It's a really tiny piece. That's on one side. Oh, it's a 3-piece plastic sticker. So there's one for the middle, one for each side. So getting that off is not easy. Oh, there we go. So that just takes the middle bit off. Clean, and that'll come off, I think. And this side has one as well. These edges are really sharp. Did I get it all? No, I think there's a bit more. There we go. Ba-bum. Yeah, I think now that. Let me just give it a quick wipe with my t-shirt. Wearing a soft 100% cotton t-shirt is a very good, it's a plus point when you forget to bring your polishing cloth for a review. Just make sure it's very soft cotton, it's not textured, and you won't damage your watch at all. So I think that's enough peeling for the time being. Of course there's one on the back. The case back still has its original. You can see it's got the green thing here. I'll just leave it on for now. It's not going to cause any issues. And yeah, just giving you a quick close of the clasp because it's firmly, I mean, look at that, click click, it's so obvious and it's just built so well. There is of course another sticker here which I believe is just to, so I've just basically folded the tab for now. I think I'll just leave that in there. No one's gonna notice it. Let it be there. And I think I'll put this back on. And then you can get to see another wrist shot how it goes on. So I mean, a lot of people seem to think I've got big wrists. I personally don't think so because this is just a 40mm watch. You can see the lugs are not falling off the edges, which is what I like, and that's how a watch should be. Any watch you buy and wear, it should have this kind of proportionate feel and look. I know a lot of the Chinese and Asian gentlemen don't have that luxury, so when they wear pieces like AP raw look offshore watches, you know, it's the lugs are basically over here in midair, and well, that's unfortunate. but if you can, always go for. So basically, so when I for 5 years I wore what I call the two-tone Datejust 36 millimeters, and it didn't bother me at all because it still looked like a great piece. The lugs were in a similar area, and it didn't feel like it was too small or anything. But it was a watch that I knew I wouldn't keep forever in the collection. It wasn't one of those kind of pieces. So I basically wore it for 5 years before I had to get it serviced. I was at the time looking to get the annual calendar, so it worked out quite nicely. So I sold off the Datejust just in time, and I was able to put that cash towards the annual calendar. So that worked out well, and I hope this review, it's more like just a recap on a new piece, really, not so much a review, but I hope you like this video. I've got quite a few goodies coming up over the next week or so, well, towards the end of next week, well, sorry, the week after, the following week, and I've been adding a couple of pieces to my pen collection. This year it has not been much. I've focused away off Mont Blanc for this year because I'm not entirely keen on all their new pieces. I find the manufacturing quality is not entirely there compared to their old writers editions, apart from their special editions. So like I've added the Mont Blanc for Meisterstag, so that's the masters for Meisterstag, Meissen porcelain in the white porcelain. That's the one I added a while back. Then I've added the Aubrac, which is the pen with granula wood and all with the sterling silver fittings, and so those pieces do definitely feel fantastic, feel like they've been worked on nicely. They have that solid feeling, but not so much all the new pieces, which you get the feeling that they're just being produced as mass market goods, rather than something that's special in any way. So due to that reason, I've looked at going back to Nakaya, which is made in Japan. Every single pen is handmade, so I'll be picking up a few of those, and I should have some other tidbits to touch on. So until then, I trust you enjoyed this quick clip. Comment and subscribe, hit like below, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this watch? And until then, cheers. Let me just get one last close up so you can get to see the bezel. Alrighty then.